All right, let's talk about something that's on pretty much everyone's mind, whether we say it out loud or not. How do you live a good life? It's this huge universal quest we're all on.
I mean, have you ever just stopped and really asked yourself, what does living a good life actually mean to me? It sounds so simple, right? But the answers? They're not. It's so easy to get swept up in the day-to-day grind, just going through the motions, that we forget to even ask if we're heading in a direction that feels right.
So that's what we're going to do today. We're going on a kind of philosophical world tour. We're going to make 3 stops in 3 totally different cultures to see if we can unpack some powerful ideas for living a life that feels more meaningful, more resilient, and yeah, maybe even a little more peaceful.
Okay, first stop, we're heading way back in time to ancient Greece to look at Stoicism. And what's so incredible about this philosophy is where it came from. One of its most important teachers, this guy named Epictetus, he started his life as a slave. So this isn't wisdom that was cooked up in some ivory tower. It was forged in real, honest-to-goodness hardship.
And this quote is the absolute core of Stoicism. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Almost too simple, like something you'd see on a cheesy motivational poster. But trust me, this single idea is one of the most powerful tools you can have for dealing with, well, pretty much all the chaos life throws at you. And here's the trick. It's all about figuring out which is which. You've got your column of things you actually control, your thoughts, your actions, the effort you put in, and then there's the other column, which is, basically everything else. What people think of you, whether you hit traffic, what the economy does. The Stoics said that almost all of our suffering comes from us trying to control that second column. The minute you pin your happiness on something you can't control, you've basically just handed over the keys to your own peace of mind.
Okay, now this is where Stoicism gets a little weird, a little counterintuitive. Instead of just staying positive all the time, Stoics do this thing called negative visualization. They actually sit down and imagine the worst-case scenario. Seriously, they think about what it would be like if that big project failed or if they lost something they love. It sounds super depressing, I know, but the point isn't to make yourself anxious. It's to build up a kind of mental immunity.
So when you practice this, a couple of amazing things happen. First, you're prepared. If something bad does happen, it's not a complete shock to your system because you've already walked through it in your mind. And second, and this is huge, it makes you incredibly grateful for what you have right now. When you imagine losing something, you start to appreciate it so much more because you're reminded that nothing lasts forever. Everything is just on loan, as they'd say.
All right, so if Stoicism helps us cope with the outside world, our next stop is about finding our purpose inside it. We're jumping from the ancient world all the way to modern Japan, a place known for its incredible dedication to craft and detail. We're here to talk about purpose.
The Japanese have this beautiful word for it, ikigai, and it basically means your reason for being. It's that thing that gets you to jump out of bed in the morning, not because you have to, like for a paycheck, but because you genuinely want to. It's way more than a job. It's like a personal mission.
And if you want to see Ikigai in action, there's probably no better example on the planet than Jiro Ono, the legendary sushi master. This guy didn't set out to become a world-famous chef with a documentary about him. He just wanted to make the absolute best piece of sushi he could possibly make, and then do it again and again and again. I mean, just look at this level of obsession. He measures the temperature of his own hands. He's perfecting how to smoke fish with rice straw. This isn't just about making food for customers. This is about falling in love with the process itself. It's about all the tiny details that nobody else even sees. That's where Ikigai lives, in that relentless, joyful pursuit of getting better. And this leads to a really profound truth. Embrace the parts you don't like in the work that you love. Think about it. Every passion, every dream job has stuff that's tedious or frustrating. A person who has found their ikigai doesn't just put up with that stuff. They see it as a necessary part of the craft. They learn to love the grind because they know that's where the real growth happens.
And this really gets at the difference between passion and purpose. See, passion can be a flash in the pan, but purpose is a deep internal drive. Jiro's purpose wasn't getting Michelin stars. That was just a nice side effect. His purpose was an internal promise to himself to do his absolute best just for the sake of doing it. It shows that it's not just about what you do, it's about how you do it.
Okay, so for our final stop, we're going from a philosophy of intense focus to one of, well, no focus at all. We're heading to the Netherlands, one of the happiest countries in the world, to learn about something a lot of us have completely forgotten how to do, absolutely nothing.
Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel kind of guilty when you're just sitting there doing nothing, like really nothing? If you said yes, well, you're definitely not alone. We live in this world that's obsessed with productivity, where any moment of idleness feels like wasted time. But the Dutch have a pretty amazing answer for that.
It's a concept called Nixon. And let's be super clear, this is not the same as being lazy. Nixon is the art of purposefully doing nothing. It's letting your mind just drift without any goal or agenda at all.
You know, we often think we're resting when we're really just doing what you could call productive rest, like going on a vacation, but you've got a whole checklist of sights to see. Or maybe you meditate so you can be more focused at work later. See? There's still a goal. True Nixon is different. It's literally just staring out the window or listening to music without trying to analyze it. The whole point is that there is no point.
So why on earth would we do this? Well, think about it. A mind that is always on, always busy, never gets a chance to just settle. It's in those quiet, empty moments that our brains can finally process everything. That's where clarity comes from. That's where creativity gets a chance to spark. It's how we can finally hear ourselves think and figure out what we actually want, away from all the external noise.
So, we've gone from the Stoics in ancient Greece to the sushi masters of Japan and finally to the quiet cafes of the Netherlands. We've talked about coping with chaos, finding our purpose, and the incredible power of just being still. Now, let's pull it all together.
After this whole journey, what are we left with? Well, it turns out that across all these different cultures and times, a few key principles keep popping up. It really boils down to 8 powerful ideas.
Let's run through them. The Stoics teach us to be a part of the universe, not the center of it, and to do our best without getting hung up on the results. Ikigai shows us the power of committing to something meaningful and learning to let go of perfection along the way. And Nixon? It creates the space for us to find happiness with less, to understand ourselves so we can finally stop comparing, and to realize that what's truly valuable is often invisible, and that the good life is lived right here, right now.
When you put it all together, the message is pretty clear, isn't it? A good life isn't some prize you win at the finish line. It's not a list of things to achieve. It's found in the journey itself, in how we handle challenges, how we approach our work, and how we give ourselves permission to simply be.
So the question for you is, which one of these ideas could you use? What one small principle could you start playing with today to start living your good life? Because in the end, it's all about the process, not the prize. Thanks so much for joining me on this tour.